Huddle, the podcast that brings you the heart and soul of Rolla Bulldogs high school sports.
All right. Welcome to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Romo Athletics and powered by our new title sponsor, Phelps County Bank. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to Phelps County Bank, man. 100% employee owned. They're 100% community champions. Appreciate everything they do. Glad to have them on board as a title sponsor this year. All right, so here we go. I'm your host, Tom Brown. We're joined today, so we got a whole crew here. Okay, so we got almost the entire administrative staff for the Rolla High School Bulldogs. We got football head coach Derick Heflin, and he's holding today the general manager of the Bulldog program, Emerson. And say hi, Emerson. Say hi.
Hi.
And of course, we got the football specialist back for his second week, Drew Barr. What's up, Drew?
I'm fine. What about you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So, hey, Emerson. So, what's your thoughts about the game? Everything? You happy here with you hanging out with Dad today?
Yes. Say yes. She's
Yeah.
ready to go. She's happy.
Oh, she's
She
classy.
stopped by team dinner. She loves the football boys, so
And
she's excited.
I love the shirt there. Huddles and cuddles.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's so excited. I think we should have huddles and cuddles shirts made for all the boys.
Definitely for Drew. I think he should wear one on Friday night.
That's okay. Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about. I was asking Emerson's position within the organization, and it came up pretty quick. Where Drew's like, "Well, she's my boss."
Yeah.
That's what Drew says. So I'm like, "Okay, Drew, I'll go with that." So she's the general manager, and it's awesome, man. It's how old is she?
She'll be 10 months old on September 16th. Yeah.
10 months old last September 16th.
Yes. She's made an appearance, I think, the week after football season ended last year. So she had a lot of fun Friday night and at the jamboree, and she keeps me in line for sure, and she keeps her Uncle Drew in line a lot too. So yes,
she does. Well, I remember that after one of our last Inside the Huddle episodes, we weren't sure if it was going to be able to happen.
At the end.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We knew it was going to be kind of an on-call thing, and we're going to see how that goes. So
yes. Say hi. All right.
Say bye.
Say bye.
Say bye. Bye. Bye.
All right,
Emerson. How about that? Our first appearance on Inside the Huddle. Hey, we just don't bring you the stuff that goes on in the gridiron. When we bring you everything around that community, so that's pretty cool. So, Coach, before we get started, let's talk about the team meal again.
Yeah, we had Colton's and In Full Bloom sponsored it. We had some Chipotle chicken. It was delicious. And we had some really good cake. And then Sonic has always donated the water. So it was good to everybody get in here, and we had everybody left full, that's for sure.
Did you like the dinner?
Oh, yeah, good.
Good. You keep down to one? Because you have no with me when I made the brownies after I slaved over those brownies, you only had one, even though I told you could have two. How many pieces of cake did you have?
One. Yes, just one. Yes, another one.
It was one whole plate.
One plate.
It was one cake.
Yeah, maybe
It was strawberry, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, it's a fruit. So that's all good. All right. Well, Coach, hey, tough one Friday night against Festus. So let's talk about them. They're the defending Class 4 runner-up, if you will.
Yeah.
In there, we played them in the first opening game last year. We knew they're going to be tough. They graduated what I consider the weapon that really kind of put damage to us last year. It was a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
And they brought in the junior, and you said, "Boy, this guy can sling it."
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yes.
I mean, he went. I mean, I think he. I think he had. I don't know if he missed one out of those first 6-7 passes he did.
Yeah. No, he definitely. I spent all day with high school kids. I get that. He played good, and we had a couple moments where we had some brain farts in that first half that kind of helped him. But no, we knew coming in that him being able to throw the ball would add a different element. The kid last year was he could throw it well, but he was more of a runner than he was a thrower. And this kid with the RPOs and he was taking some shots downfield, and he made some passes when we had really good coverage, and then I think we had two where we just went brain dead and blew some coverages, and when we did that, they took advantage of it. That was kind of the story of the first half, was that we just had we had those first game mistakes, especially when you have some young kids playing with old kids, and they had guys that had a lot of experience. When you get to go to the state championship game, you're playing 14, 15 games. So, those guys had a lot of experience, and they took advantage of some of those mental miscues we had in the first half.
Yeah, that was a tough way to go. Like you said, he was 16 for 19 for about 250 yards, I believe, that he passed for. Had 4 passing touchdowns, and you said it right. And a couple had a couple blown coverage, but then there was other ones where he just put it right
Well,
where only that kid could get it
Yes.
in the passing. And I was just his ability to lead his receivers in the first half was impressive. Second half, you guys got into him a little bit.
Yeah, no, and that was the thing. At halftime, we went in and there wasn't a halftime adjustment. I just got the D-backs together and said, "Do you guys understand the coverages that we've been running since you were sophomores?" And they looked at me and said, "Yes." And you could tell, even when we made the mistakes, that they knew what they had done or knew the mistake they had made. And the second half, we went out and they, we got it, and we had a really good pass rush too. That was the thing that kind of gets left out is, I think we had 2 sacks and an intentional grounding, but at the same time, Easton, Jakari, Cam Brown were chasing him, and he was running for his life that whole second half. He just made plays, and he's a good quarterback, and we knew that going into the game that he had those abilities, and he showed it. And it's one of those things where we'll learn and we grow, and we had a really good week of practice coming off of that. So, you open, college football just started, a lot of those places open with like a directional school that nobody's heard of, and there's 4 or 5 big games. We open with a big game, and that's something that happens when you open week 1. Those things you got to be crisp and sharp, and if you make errors, they're going to get exposed, and they got exposed.
Yeah, you look at Easton Smith had 2 quarterback sacks again from the outside end, outside linebacker.
He's kind of a hybrid. Yeah.
Reminds me of the Derek Thomas approach when he was a linebacker, but never was up in a 2-point stance. But I know you take advantage of that. And then he had Jack had a couple tackles for losses, and like you said, Cam Brown was in there. I don't know how many times Hutton couldn't quite get the sack, but again, forcing some low runs or some different things like that. So second half, you held the offense scoreless. We gave up the safety on a botched snap on the punt. But yeah, so defense really stepped up that second half.
Yeah, there was the one thing that the whole game was we got to get better on third down, because there was a lot of they went on some long drives, and a lot of it was we get them in 3rd and 5, and then really he'd scramble and make a play and get a first down. And but no, we bowed our neck and went out there and stopped them, created a pass rush. We got better defensively. I felt like the Jamboree, there were times where we kind of struggled. That first half we struggled a little bit, but that second half we made a big jump. And if we can make the jump we made from the first half to the second half this week, I think we'll see a really stout defense. And I think part of it too is like we talked about last week, changing the structure of the defense. It just kind of changes the fits a little bit. It didn't change our coverages, but we'll keep working those things. And like I said, we had a really good week of practice at that, and we also have Jack back there who played. Like I said, you talked and named off a lot of guys that played well and did good jobs up front, but Jack probably played the best game I've ever seen a defensive back play. I know in 18, 19 years, that was the best I've had a D-back play in a game, and he was all over the field, flying around. And some of those blown coverages weren't him, but it looked like it was him because he was covering that much ground and doing so much that he was almost there to make the plays to cover for other guys. But he ran the game plan to perfection. He was making tackles in the backfield and being in deep in coverage and doing everything we needed to do, and it was pretty impressive to watch.
What do you see right there? Goosebumps. See him?
Yeah,
Goosebumps. I get that way. When I see things, I get goosebumps when I get excited.
Yeah.
And up in the press box, announcing the game, it was almost. I mean, we called Jack's name so many times.
Yeah.
He's involved in 21 tackles.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know what our record is for tackles.
Yeah.
It's got to be up near.
No, it was impressive. Like I said, it's the most since I've coached in the 3 years I've been here. I don't think I've ever coached somebody that had more than 20 tackles in a game, and it was impressive. And usually if you're free safeties making that many tackles, it's not a good thing. But in the structure of this defense, really like we talked about last week, he's the 4th linebacker, and he. If there were colleges looking at him before, there's a lot of people that need to be on notice because he's been really good for 2 years, and his game has gone to another level, and it was impressive.
Well, we talked about that. He was one last year that, just because of the nature, not having the conference and having the things, you know, I don't know that you could have named a better defensive back last year, that would beat him out of all state opportunities. But his performance was incredible. We just don't get a lot of it just because
Yeah.
of how we're playing without the conference,
Yeah.
the way the structure went, only having the one game in the districts.
Yeah, no, and we get to actually go over and play everybody all over the state of Missouri.
yeah.
We go east, west, north, south. Where before we only went west. So he's the real deal, and we could spend hours talking about everything that he did good, and he's an even better person and leader of this team. And that's what makes it special, and it gets you excited about a kid like. And we have a really great group of kids, but man, Friday night it was watching the film. It was there were some frustrating moments, but then in the midst of getting frustrated and mad, he'd all of a sudden make a play in the backfield, and you go, oh wow, how'd that just happen? So it kind of eased the pain of the. It didn't ease the pain, but it made it a little easier to watch the film and all that stuff. Just how well he played.
Yeah, it was definitely a performance. So defensively, again, made the stops in the second half, held offense scoreless. Offense never quite got on track for us. We had the big play by Colton Petersmith, again, electric. Every time he touches the
Yeah.
ball, it is. First of all, I cannot believe they kicked him, and they went from the opening kickoff. They kicked him.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
No, and that's when you go east and you get into some of those St. Louis schools. Speed is. They're all fast, in the Ozark Conference, and that was the thing when I went to Washington. That was the thing that kind of caught me off guard was how fast everybody is up there compared to this part of the state. And but no, CP's on a different level with that speed, and I think they kind of underestimated how fast he really is. And he was that kickoff return kind of got to the life, and then he had a big pass and make it. I think it was 28-14 at that point. And offensively, it was one of those nights where you talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Well, we shot all 10 of them off pretty quick. It was frustrating because we got Emory going and we were running our outside veer stuff, and we found some stuff, and they were trying to make adjustments on the fly, and then we started just silly false start penalties. It wasn't just I think the offensive line had two. One time Emory left a little early. One time one of the receivers wasn't set. It was one of those things where we're a run first team, and first and 15 is not good.
Yeah.
And there's not any real offense where first and 15 is a good, nobody has a great play call for first and 15. You're trying to get back to second and 8 then, and then you're third and 8, third and whatever. And it's tough. And but we did some good things, and in the second half, I think we threw the ball pretty well and did some things there too. It's just got to be honed in, and we got to be focused, and we got to eliminate silly mistakes, because if we don't make silly mistakes in that first half, it's a completely different ball game. And that was Monday when we came in and watched the film with the kids. And I said, guys, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? And they all to a man said, yeah, coach, it really is. If we're focused every play the way we should be, this is a different ball game. And seeing that and having that maturity of a group, and the young guys picking up the old guys picking up the young guys, excuse me, was impressive. And like I said, we had a weird week because we played a JV and freshman game on Tuesday. So Tuesday at practice, I think we had 21 kids dressed. And Monday we had a good day. Tuesday was what it was, but we had a really good day Wednesday and Thursday. And so I think we've got the leadership in the group of kids that are going to respond and come back out tomorrow night and put out a good performance.
That's great. CP ended up with 4 receptions for 110 yards.
Yeah.
So again, had the one that we talked about where he was able to go up, make an adjustment, pull it away from traffic, and then take off with it. Blaine Spabo had himself 2 for 18. Jack got in there for 1 for 4. So, and again, it seemed like things started. That was again going in the second half. Things were clicking, went a little bit faster with there. Did you go into the pistol a little bit?
We were in the gun a little bit, and and that's something we did it last year, and we kind of expanded on it a little bit. We've got a couple formations and sets where, it's not just for when we get behind, but it's a little easier to throw the ball out of the gun. And I've said this, I think, since week 5 last year I started saying it. We actually can run it out of there too. We have I think we ran one run play out of it. We actually practiced doing that stuff, but a lot of it is stuff for our offensive line that is similar, and there's a lot of the same stuff we do under center. But yeah, we get in the gun a little bit, and it's something that helps us, and getting those guys in space a little bit, and we got some guys that can play in some space, and a little bit at first it was the protection, but it was the same thing we talked about with defense. As the game went on, those young guys understood, okay, hey, if we're throwing the ball, the protection's got to be here, and then they got better, and we had some chances with some opportunities. There was a little bit of pressure and couldn't take advantage of it, and we had some opportunities that second half to kind of close the gap, but we just fell a little short.
Man, that was tough. We highlighted again that the offensive line again. It's a kind of a rebuild. It's younger. We graduated a lot of
Yes.
veterans that had been there
Yeah.
For multiple years on that line, and so we knew that. But like you said, you were able to teach on that, coach on it during the game, and then also when you go back on film,
Yeah.
look at those things, look at those techniques, and then build on it, because you do have a nice group. When we look at the skilled players, again, I always hate to say the skilled players, but that's bottom line. That's the term we
No,
use.
yeah.
The guys are touching the ball out there.
Yeah.
You got some power running,
Yes.
and you got some quickness, speed, change of direction,
Yep.
change of pace. You have a lot of things that are out there that give some options for you,
Yeah.
and that's key is going to be how does the line trust each other? How do they pick up their assignments,
Yeah.
and then how does everyone else play off that?
Yeah,
goes.
and that's the thing too. Like you just said, we graduated 3 guys that had started 30 games, and getting those guys to gel together, and that's kind of with the skill positions. A lot of those guys are working on 20 plus starts.
Yeah.
So we can do some things with the skill guys, but we got to keep everything simple for those guys up front so they can gel and do the things they need to do. And like I said, it will come with time, and a lot of it is there were. Peyton, I think, is the only guy. Peyton Fuller was the only guy that had played a varsity football game as an offensive lineman. So you had 4 guys out there that are going to be good. They took some. They got better as the game went on, and it's just a learning experience. And that's something that they'll keep gelling and keep working together. And by the end of the year, I think we'll have a very solid unit.
So we had the injury. Terrell Simmons went out first carry of the game. First carry of his game was like probably third or fourth.
It was the fourth play.
Fourth play. What do we have a diagnosis on Terrell?
We're getting an MRI. They're working on scheduling an MRI. I think they started calling today. I haven't heard back. It's something with his meniscus, which is it's not good, but it's better than when I got out there on the field with him. I could see in his eyes that he tore his other ACL as a freshman, and it was a long process to get him back, and he worked so hard to get back and put in the time and put in the effort, and I can't. It's the same thing you're talking about, Jack. Terrell is such a great kid that it is tough to see that the kid that shows up and works, does all the things that he does, to go down on the first carry he gets. But he'll rebound. He's strong. He's a tough kid, both mentally and physically. And it's something where I think hopefully if it's we're hoping it's just a minor something with meniscus, and he can be back in a couple weeks. But yeah, he'll definitely be out this week and probably next. And then once we get those MRI results, we'll have a clearer picture of what it is. But it's just like when he was a freshman. He's at practice every day, doing everything he needs to do, being a great teammate, and you can't ask for a better kid anymore from him.
That's great. Well, hopefully, yeah, good news on that. Again, if it's meniscus, that it's a limited amount of time. I go back to Marshall Falk had his 2 weeks out when he was on the Greatest Show on Turf
Yeah.
with the meniscus tear. Trying to go that, but again, it's always like anything else. It's a challenge, and a lot of it's going to be then that confidence level that you're going to have out there making your cuts. Before we look at next week's game, let's take a look at our big dogs of the week, and I want to give a big shout out to Price Chopper, who's come on board as the sponsor of the big dog of the week. So the first one up, we got Colton Petersmith, man, huge game.
Yes.
It's again, I guess you call him a wide receiver slot. I'm not sure what all
he's he's a jack of all. He's kind of our gadget guy.
Yeah.
We use him. He's in the backfield. He's at receiver. He's at slot. He's everywhere.
Yeah, and so CP had 4 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Also had a kick return for a touchdown, 96 yards. I don't know what his total kick return was,
It was,
yardage, but it was pretty impressive.
I think he had 157. It was 37 0.1 yards a return. And I think it was 157 for the 5. So yeah, no, he had a good night.
And and in some of those, man, it always looked like he had a chance to break.
Yes.
And then the one poor kid got. I don't know that he got stuck, but the guy like turned around and they hit, and it was a bigger guy he got a hold of, and man, CP popped right up, but you could hear the contact. I don't know that the guy even knew CP was there because he came through so fast, but it was a heck of a collision, and CP just being CP bounced up and ran right off. So we also have so we have two big dogs of the week, and the second one we've been talking about him is Jack Morozowitz. Again, running that free safety, also runs some running back for you. 21 total tackles.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 13 solo, 6 assisted, and 2 tackles for loss.
He was
From the free safety position.
Yeah, that's from 8 to 10 yards from the line of scrimmage and reading and coming downhill. And like I said, they both had a heck of a night there. It's well deserved, and two great kids that are really, really, really special football players.
So appreciate Price Chopper coming on and being the big dog sponsor. So let's take a look a little bit at coming up against Hillcrest. Hillcrest Hornets, former Ozark Conference foe. They lost last week 38-6 to Van Horn up out of the Kansas City area, which I think they were a 7-4 team last year. Van Horn was, so they're solid.
Yes.
And we beat Hillcrest last year at Hillcrest 30-20.
Yes.
And so they graduated quite a few players. I think they graduated 7 all-conference players out of that
Ozark Mountain,
Ozark Mountain Conference. And they're bringing back 3 starters on offense, 3 starters on defense. So I was out trying to research up a lot of stuff. There is not much out there on them right now.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Were you able to get a hold of game film?
Yeah, no, we got their jam
Right there, Drew.
Yeah, fine.
You need some water?
Let me find me a minute.
You need to go get you a soda?
Let me find me.
Okay, all right. No, yeah, watching the Jamboree in week 1. And they were originally in the same boat as we were. They were originally scheduled to play Central, and what was that? I mean, at the week of, it was right before our Jamboree, or not Jamboree, Gatorade or Powerade scrimmage. Excuse me, Powerade scrimmage. The night before that, we got done with practice, and I'm walking on the field, and I get a phone call from Cabby that, hey, Central ain't playing football. So we, had to scramble. They really had to scramble because they had to find a week 1. But they did graduate a lot. When we played them last year, they were fully healthy. And they had their quarterback was really good last year. He got hurt. He actually broke his collarbone, I think, the week after they played us against West Plains. They lost some starters, so they struggled after they played us. But they were much improved last year. I think they're a younger team, but we've got some young guys out there too. So it's going to be one of those things where we need to come out and it really this week's been about us focusing on us and working on little things and iron out all those kinks from week 1. But they have a quick little running back. And they've got a guard that was really good last year that's back, and he plays nose guard for them too. So they've got some guys. We just got to make sure that we're prepared and take care of our business and eliminate the mental mistakes that we had last week. And I think if we do that, good things will happen for us.
So I think the quarterback who replaced the one who was injured is the one that's coming back.
He's back. Yeah.
So last year I was looking at his stats. So Braxton Tyndall's his name. He's a senior this year. Last year he had 1,020 yards passing for 4 touchdowns. Had 122 carries for 495 yards because again they're kind of a run first spread.
Yes.
Trying to be a little bit like just spread, but they're growing. I know they got the quick backs and everything.
Yeah, no, and it's a gap scheme, kind of like Gus Malzahn, kind of a little. You can see a little wing tee in it. It's a lot of counters and buck sweeps and powers and things like that. And they'll do it with the quarterback and they'll do it with the running back. So their quarterback's kind of a interchangeable running back if you want to look at it that way. But it's just one of those things where we've got to be gap sound and fit, and they love to screen game you. So it's one of those things that kind of holds those linebackers and those defensive linemen got to be really disciplined. And I was just yelling at them out here at Thursday practice of if it's that easy, it ain't that easy. It's a screen. Get back, retrace your steps, understand what we've been doing all week. And like I said, this week has been about us getting better at us. But they're going to come out here and they're going to be hungry. Young kids are going to want to fly around and play football and have fun on a Friday night. And we got to make sure that we kind of ruin their party and take the air out of their sails early.
Yeah, definitely. And we talk about the kid being a good athlete because he was actually a receiver before he was a quarterback. Yeah. So he had 23 catches for 253 yards and a touchdown in those first few games. And he's now, so coming into this year, he's the leading returning passer, rusher, and receiver for the Hillcrest. So again, a young team that has kind of the quick guards you talked about, or quick running backs. So game plan for your team. What else is out there other than the kind of the staying discipline? Like you said, if they're running those screens, that discipline is going to be even more important,
Yes.
especially when they have those quick running backs for the change of direction.
Yeah. The biggest thing is, we got to stay ahead of the chains offensively. We can't be in 1st and 15. And it's get those guys that need to be explosive and get them in space and let them make plays in the run game. And we got to make sure that we're established in the run game. That's whether it doesn't matter how you do it. Running the ball is something that, to me, leads to success. If you can run the ball and stop the run, and get after the quarterback on 3rd down, great things are going to happen. And I think that's what we've got to do, and we've got to keep doing. And at times we did those things Friday night, and if we can consistently put together 48 minutes of that, some really good things are going to happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're looking forward to that. Before we kind of get into the final thing, talk about those keys and kind of some other questions just to follow up on. I want to give recognition to their sponsors. Again, talked about Phelps County Bank. They're coming on as the title sponsor this year, so they're going to be involved in every one of the Inside the Huddle episodes. 100% employee owned, community champions because they're involved in everything. Really appreciate them. And, they might be bankers by day, but they're Bulldog fans by night. Also have Juan Skills Academy. Kobe Wands, he's been here. This is his 2nd year. Appreciate everything he's done. Does a great job doing the basketball development. Actually, construction of a gym right now. So excited about that. It's going to have 2 gyms out there in the area to be able to do some additional stuff. So looking forward to that. Jackie Morozowitz, as we talked about, one of the sponsors tonight for the team meal from In Full Bloom, does the senior signings. We had her for weddings, have her for a baby shower coming up. She does everything. Got the balloon decoration, backdrop rental, anything you need, get a hold of Jackie. She can help you out. Does a great job. And we talked about Price Chopper. They come on as the big dog. So Brian Clark now over there at Price Chopper. Appreciate him stepping in. He's always been a big Bulldog fan. Helps out with football and wrestling and everything like that. So appreciate Brian. And I also want to give a shout out to the season ticket, man. I sit on there and we talk about the Bulldogs on there with JP Maxwell. They're on Tuesday at 5 to 6 on ESPN 4.9. You can find him there, tune in. He's also has podcasts now, so you can click in there and you can see the podcast. So as we wind down, talk about the discipline. If you have one key, last time on the key to victory, you were saying, Easton, you're saying, hey, just get the ball into CP, have Easton throw to CP, and we'll get a touchdown. Well, that worked out. So great call on that one again.
Hey, CP, have lots of work. Bobby Easton, man, great work. I'm a Bobby, have run the kids, good flow. I'm ready to keep him here.
So what do you think is going to be the key to victory, Drew?
Victory, Bobby is CP. Ready to win a touchdown for me this year.
He's going to run a touchdown for you?
Yeah, I want to touchdown for me. I'm ready to Avenue. It's just kids that pop up away to a good. Who had to do it? Good year, back at his. Right now, I'm helping me to do it myself.
You have to do, I got one more game, or he's going to do it all himself.
Okay, gonna have to get on there. Okay, so Coach, anything special you want to call out there? If you had one thing you want the kids to accomplish, execute on, what is it for Friday night?
I think it's staying penalty free is the big thing, and if we can stay penalty free, some good things are going to happen.
All right, man. Penalty free. Love that. We'll get on that. I'll make sure I'll do my PA announcement. I'll shut off the official's mic so he can't announce anything if anything does go wrong. So one last question. Tonight is the start of NFL football. We got the Eagles versus Cowboys, I believe.
Yeah.
Who you going with?
Oh, you got to go with the Eagles. I mean, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. I mean, as long as Jerry Jones is still alive, I think it's easy to put the money on the Eagles.
But they got Micah Parsons. Oh wait, they don't.
Yeah.
Drew, are you going with the Eagles too? Or are you going with the Cowboys?
Me big right now. Back alone. Kansas City Chiefs.
But I'm asking about Eagles or Cowboys.
Cowboys or Chiefs.
Okay.
The Chiefs play tomorrow night.
Chiefs play tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Chiefs and Chargers tomorrow night at the same time. You can DVR your the Chiefs game. You can show up here at Lions Memorial Field and you can watch it live and you can have a lot of fun. Because I'll tell you what, man. I'm guessing we're going to score probably 6-7 touchdowns. What do you think?
And then we got to get the big celebration because Saturday, the man in charge turns 47.
47.
Yeah,
Drew
47.
Barr on Saturday. Turning 47, man.
Yeah.
You got big plans?
Oh man, yeah, my parents. I go out there to Judge Cub, James, golf, very well. My parents said, Drew, play golf. Where was that?
Yeah.
Good
Do you
He
like to
said,
play
he
golf?
said, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause are you any good at it? Because I'm not very good, man.
My parents does a
Okay.
good time.
Okay.
My mom, we're ready to read. Great year ready to read about.
She's good in the ladies' league.
Yeah, her good.
Man.
The rest of them.
I might be all right if I could shoot from the ladies' tees. If I could hit from there, I might do it right, but chances are I'm not pretty good.
Up to
Well, you're almost a senior citizen now, so you can play from the
goal.
Yeah, you can play from those
go
short.
There you go.
go in the right.
Golden white. I love
Golden
it.
white, there you go,
I
buddy.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so Coach, again, thank you for joining
Oh,
us.
no problem.
Drew, thank you, and thanks again for having the general manager Emerson
Oh,
on, man.
no,
She's
thank you for-
absolutely precious.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you having us all on, and this is fun. I enjoy doing it every week.
Well, appreciate it. And again, we want to give a big shout out to Phelps County Bank as the title sponsor for Inside the Huddle. So for Coach Heflin, for the football specialist Drew Barr, for Emerson, who's now long gone, I'm your host Tom Brown, and from Inside the Huddle to the heart of the game, we'll see you next time.